Most beginners think the planche is impossible, and it feels even worse when you can't hold the first progression, which is the tuck planche. I mean, if you can't hold a tuck, how will you ever achieve the full planche? But what if I told you that unlocking the tuck planche is much easier than you think? I actually had a client who unlocked it in his first session, and another who took just 3 sessions to finally hold the tuck planche. And here's the thing, you can do it too. Watch this video, apply these steps, and I promise you that you will unlock the tuck planche in no time. So to unlock the planche within the next few days, we're going to focus on 3 main exercises or skills. So this first exercise is unfortunately the most neglected. If you skip this, you might as well just skip the planche. This exercise is the planche lean, but there's a big problem with how people train the skill. So usually what happens is when people try out the planche leans, they tend to lean too far where they barely hold it for a couple seconds, and next thing you know, they just slam their face on the ground. This is a big mistake. You're not getting your body to adapt to that position. You're not doing enough volume to build this adequate strength in your shoulders, your bicep tendons, your core to hold the planche in the first place. Listen, the key is to hold it for as long as you can in order to prime your nervous system to get used to this exercise, so that when we're going towards the tuck planche, we're used to the movement, of protracting your scapula, locking out your elbows, keeping your core engaged. These will all transfer. Spend the next, I would say, 1 week mastering the planche leans, and lean just far enough where you're able to hold it for around 10 seconds. Listen, I know you're in a rush to unlock that tuck planche ASAP, but I always say that when it comes to fundamentals, you never want to rush it. In fact, in calisthenics in general, the faster you try to, rush your progress, the slower you go. You want to master the basics so that when you go to the next movement, it becomes easier to unlock. Just a side note, if you haven't mastered the basics in calisthenics, then maybe going for a tuck planche is not smart. Look, I genuinely don't want you to get stuck just trying to learn the basics. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the free program, which you can download in the link down below. But now there's a little problem with this exercise. If you just keep practicing the planche leans, sure, you will build more strength and prepare your body to get to the planche, but the problem is you're going to be missing the whole purpose of holding a planche with your entire body weight off the ground. So this is when we introduce the second progression. Now there's 2 ways we can go about this exercise or progression. The first way is by doing planche lean knee tucks. So you can use maybe a slider or a towel under your feet while being in a planche lean position. And all you're going to do is tuck your knees as close as you can. Now what a lot of people don't tell you about this exercise and why it doesn't work for a lot of people is because they miss a key element, and that is having almost all their weight on their hands while having your feet as light as they can be on the ground, and just focus on tucking in your core and dragging your knees towards your chest. In this way, you're using the proper mechanics to learn tuck planche. If you just slide that towel on the ground, you're not really activating the prime muscles used in a planche. Now the second progression is to hold it in that tuck position with your feet on the ground, and you can alternate 1 foot off the ground so that you can get used to holding the tuck planche, except that you're using an assistance from one of your feet. And I forgot to mention there's a third progression to this exercise, and that is just simply using a assisted band. Using a band which allows you to hold the tuck planche will basically help you adapt to that skill faster, because you're literally holding that skill with assistance, but you get that feel of holding a tuck planche. While I think that this is a great exercise and you should apply it, it makes you depend on the band or that weight that the band is helping you with. And if you get too dependent on the resistance band, then it's going to be so hard to hold the tuck planche when you remove the resistance band. That's why a lot of people get stuck. So we know that we cannot get stuck in just performing progressions, so we need to actually approach the skill. And this might be the most intimidating part. But for the third exercise or progression is simply just going for attempt. And listen, I know you probably heard it from others. Yes, you should just attempt the skill, but no one tells you how to attempt a skill when you can't do it yet. Believe it or not, there is actually a proper strategy you should follow to attempt a skill. So rule 1, you should never overdo it. If you overdo it, you're just going to fry your nervous system. I would say the sweet spot would be between 5 to 10 sets. I would go a little higher than 5, maybe between 7 to 10 sets. Now the second rule is doing it slow and controlled. So what you want to do is slowly get into a tuck planche with your feet on the ground, like the previous progression we did. And then you finally remove that last foot on the ground as slow as you can. The smoother you get into that skill, the better you're adapting to it, because then you're actually holding the right position and you're not getting into those weird positions where you start arching your back, breaking the form. Slow and controlled is key. And finally, the third rule is to not hold it for too long. Yes, we're aiming to hold it for as long as we can, but when you're attempting that skill, trying to hold it for too long will, first of all, have you end up smashing your face on the ground because you just can't hold it yet for too long. And second of all, it will, again, fry your nervous system, and we don't want to do that. Oh, and the third problem is injuries. You can literally get injured by just attempting a skill which you can't hold yet. Try to hold it for just 1 second, as long as the form is clean. If the form breaks, then just go back down. So for the next 7 days, prioritize the planche leans and start adding the second progression until you feel comfortable to start attempting. And if you feel like you need more time on the planche leans, take your sweet time. Stop rushing your progress. It's only gonna cause you more trouble. This is one of the few things which I wish I knew when I started calisthenics, because it kept me stuck for months, actually years, of not only failing to make progress and failing to unlock skills, but I was getting no results. If anything, I was losing some skills because of these mistakes I did. Now, if you want to know what these mistakes are exactly and how you should avoid them, you can click this video right here, and mastering calisthenics becomes 10 times easier and you will achieve skills faster. Subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.